This is a sequel to the story called Long Distance Love Story that I published on September 28th, 2024. You can find those stories in the playlist under Long Distance Love Story on my YouTube channel. A little background. If you have already watched Long Distance Love Story, you can skip down to the story starts, as this part just describes the four main characters. Our little family has four members to it: Masumi, Miyuki, and the twins, Toshi and Samuel or Sam. Masumi, who was also known as Sam, was the mother of the twins and Mike's wife. We won't call her Sam any longer to stop any confusion between her and one of the twins. She was born and raised in Japan and spent a year as a high school exchange student in the States, where she met Mike and fell in love with him. After she finished high school in Japan, she came back to the States for college and married Mike. After they finished their masters, Mike found a job in Washington with a certain government agency, and Masumi finished her doctorate in psychology at Georgetown University. She continued to use her married name, Gifford, after Mike vanished. The twins, Toshi and Samuel, were born in Washington. Toshi was a very pretty girl, taking after her mother. Samuel, or Sam, was the typical boy. But both were mature for their age and were in advanced classes in school. More on these two later. Miyuki, or to the twins' Aunt Mi, was a story in herself. You see, Miyuki is really Mike and was the basis of the Mike and Sam story. On Mike's first trip to Japan with Masumi, he admitted to her that he liked to crossdress, and she helped to bring out Mike's feminine side. His first feminine persona was Michelle, and the two of them had a great deal of fun with her. After they were married, his second feminine person started to evolve. This was Miyuki. Mike and Masumi really worked on his female side. He learned how to make his voice feminine. He became very good at female mannerisms. Makeup became second nature. And he became very fluent in Japanese. It turns out that Masumi was very fond of Mike's feminine side. The government agency that Mike went to work for was one of those, if I tell you what I do, I have to kill you, ones. And because one of the professors at his college that knew of his crossdressing had told the people that were doing Mike's background checks about it, the agency knew about his crossdressing and Miyuki. And it didn't seem to bother them. After he had been with the agency for a while, there was a need to do some clandestine work at the Japanese embassy. And that work would require an agent with Mike's talents, but it had to be a female agent that was Japanese. There was no one in the agency that filled the bill. Except Mike, or was it Miyuki? Mike was asked by the agency director to take on the challenge, and he accepted. Mike, with Masumi's full support, visited a plastic surgeon that worked for the agency, and when all was said and done, Mike looked more like a Japanese woman than Masumi did, but could still function as a husband to Masumi. As Miyuki, he used the surname of Tanaka. He did his stint at the embassy and disappeared for a while. Then it was back to the agency, but as Miyuki, and the couple started presenting as a lesbian couple with 2 children. When the children were about 13, Masumi and Miyuki sat them down, told them the story of a Japanese girl, an American boy, that had fallen deeply in love, and the story of their lives. This new part of the story starts before the twins were told about Mike and Aunt Mi. Hopefully you went back and read the first 5 parts. They are much better than my attempt at a short background. The story begins. This story begins when the twins were about 11. Sam was sitting on the front steps of their Georgetown brownstone townhouse, just staring at the street. Toshi, with a couple of her girlfriends, was walking down the street, coming home from one of the other girls' homes. They stopped in front of the steps, and one of the girls, who really liked Sam, and said, "Hi, Sam." Sam just sat there. Again, she said, "Hello, Sam." Still nothing. Finally, Toshi said, "Samuel Gifford. That's not nice. You say hello." Finally, Sam looked up at the 3 girls and said, "I'm sorry. I was just really thinking about something. Hi, Sue. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Toshi. That's better, little brother." Sam hated that. Toshi was only 10 minutes older than he was, but she always tossed it up to him by calling him little brother. Vanessa, even though she was a year older than the twins, had always been Toshi's friend. Sue was just about the same age as the twins and was also a very good friend. "That's all right, Toshi," Vanessa said. "Little brothers can be a pain." Sam just glared at her. "I'll see you guys at school tomorrow," Toshi said as she started up the steps. "Okay, see you tomorrow," the two girls said in unison as they started walking down the street. Toshi walked up the steps to where her brother was sitting and sat next to him. They sat there in silence for a few minutes before Toshi said, "Sam, you know Vanessa likes you." That was no way to act. "I'm sorry. I was just thinking about something." "What?" "Nothing important. I know better. I can tell." She wasn't able to finish her sentence as the front door of the brownstone opened. Their mother stuck her head out and said, "Good, you're both home. Dinner is ready. And Aunt Me will be home late tonight. So come on in and get cleaned up." "Okay, Mom," they both said as they got up and headed inside. Dinner was accompanied by the usual chatter about each other's day. Sam was a little quieter than usual and Toshi picked up on it, but said nothing. The twins did the dinner cleanup as usual. Sam washed and Toshi dried. As Masumi sat drinking a cup of tea. After they were through, they headed up to their rooms to finish any schoolwork that they had for the next day. Toshi's mind was still working, trying to figure out what was going on with her brother. It took Toshi about an hour to finish her work. And as she headed back downstairs, she walked past her brother's room. He was standing at the window staring at the street out front. She stood at the door for a few seconds before saying, "All right, little brother. Give it up." "What do you mean?" "Something is bothering you." "Tell me." "Nothing is bothering me." "Liar." "What?" "There is something bothering you." "Tell me." "There isn't." "Sam, you remember the psychology book on twins Mom told us about?" "Yeah, remember. It said that twins are closer than anyone else." "Yeah. So, it said that a lot of twins know when something was going on with the other twin." "Yeah. Well, this twin knows that something is going on with her brother." Sam finally turned around and looked at his sister. Toshi asked Sam, "What's wrong?" "It's dumb Paul." "Paul? What's he gone and done now?" "It's more like what he's talked me into." "Are you two going to get into trouble?" "Hopefully not." "What's he talked you into doing?" "It's about a costume for the Halloween party." "Is that all?" "It's more than you think. He got me to say yes to something that I wasn't sure about. But now I want to say no. But he'll be mad at me if I do." "What's he want you to do?" "Come on in and close the door." Toshi knew she wasn't supposed to be in her brother's room with the door closed. But his last statement had a little hint of being serious. She listened for her mom, and she heard the television downstairs. She walked into his room, quietly closed the door, sat at his desk, and said, "All right. What's Paul gotten you into this time?" "He talked me into a costume like he's going to wear. And he wants to dress like girls." Toshi giggled a little and said, "That's all. Isn't that enough?" "It's no big thing. I do it every day," she said as a little dig. "You're a girl." "Sorry, but it really isn't that big a deal. It's just for Halloween. And Paul is going to be doing it too." "I know, but I just don't know. What if someone recognizes me?" "So what? It's just a costume. But I'll have to ask Mom. I think she'll think it's funny. She may even have fun with it." "You think?" "Yeah. I think Aunt Me just got home. I heard a car door." "I'd better get out of here," Toshi said as she turned, walked out of the bedroom door and right into her mother. "Young lady, what are you doing in Sam's room with the door closed?" Masumi asked in Japanese. The twins knew she was mad. "Mom, Sam wanted to have a private talk. You both know that you're not allowed in each other's room with the door closed." "Yes, Mother. But it was important." "I don't care how important it was. Never again. You both understand." "Yes, Mother," they both answered. "Your Aunt Me is home. Come on downstairs and say goodnight. Then off to bed with both of you." "But, Mom..." "It's early," Sam said. Masumi just looked at him. "Yes, Mother," Sam said quietly. A few days later, at dinner, the conversation turned to the Halloween party, which was only a couple of weeks away. Masumi brought up the subject of costumes for the twins by saying, "Toshi, what do you want to be for Halloween?" "I'm not sure, Mom. Some of the girls are talking about cheerleader outfits. And I kind of thought that might be neat. That just might be fun. How about you, Sam?" "I haven't given it much thought." With that, Toshi kicked her brother under the table. "Ouch! Why did you do that?" Sam said, looking at Toshi. Toshi just looked at him in such a way that he knew if he didn't say something, she would. "Paul and I have kind of been talking about something. You and Paul. He's not going to get you into trouble again, is he?" "I hope not." "Well, what have you two been talking about?" "Can I go as a girl?" Sam blurted out. Masumi looked at Miyuki. Miyuki looked at Sam, smiled, and asked, "Are you sure you want to dress up as a girl? Won't your friends make fun of you?" "Yes, I kind of want to. Besides, Paul is going to, and we thought it would be fun to do it together." "Well, I guess you can," his mother said. "We may have to find some clothes to fit you." "What about Toshi's clothes?" "We're the same size," Sam asked. "She may not want you to wear her things." "That's all right, Mom. I don't mind as long as he doesn't get them dirty," Toshi said. "Well, I guess we know what Sam is going to be." After the twins went to bed, Masumi and Miyuki were sitting in the den, spending some quiet time together. Miyuki asked, "Do you think it's a good idea to let him dress as a girl?" "I don't see a problem. It's his buddy Paul's idea, and I'll bet they both back out before Halloween." "We'll see," Miyuki said, with a knowing smile. The following Saturday, Masumi cornered Sam and asked, "Well, are you ready?" "Ready? Ready for what?" "Well, Halloween is less than 2 weeks away. We have to find you a costume." "So soon?" "Yes. We have to know what you need." Sam just sighed, looked at his mom a little befuddled, and said, "I guess. By the way, your sister told me what the little closed-door meeting was about. And I understand your reluctance to do this. But Paul is your best friend. And the three of us think it might be fun." "Fun for who?" "For you." "Yeah, right. Just relax and go with it. It's only for one night." "Yeah. Your sister is waiting for us in her room. Come on." Unknown to Sam, Toshi and his mother had gone through her things and picked out some things for him. When they walked into Toshi's room, she was standing there with a smile on her face. Sam saw a number of pieces of clothes laying on Toshi's bed and stopped in his tracks. "I don't know about this," Sam said, and started backing out the door. Masumi blocked his way and said, "Sam, it's just clothes." "I know, but they're girls' clothes." "Well, that's what you wanted for a Halloween costume, isn't it?" "No, it's Paul's idea. But you told him that you would do it. Won't he be disappointed?" Like Mom said, Toshi chimed in, "It's only clothes. And it's only for one night." "Yeah, but why do we have to start so early?" Sam answered back. "So that we can find what looks best. And if we need to buy anything," Masumi said. "Buy anything?" "Yes, just in case something doesn't fit or look right." "Oh, all right. Come on, dear," Masumi said, putting her arm around her son and guiding him further into Toshi's room. "We've picked out some things for you to try." As Sam got closer to the bed, he saw skirts, blouses, dresses, socks, shoes, and underwear. "Underwear? Underwear? Why's that here?" "Honey, it goes with the other clothes. I can just wear my own." "Sam, it just wouldn't look right. If you bent over and someone saw your boy's underwear, they would make fun of you." All right. I guess. Go on and get undressed. Not with Toshi here." "Oh, little brother. You're too modest," Toshi said with a big grin. "Go on, honey. Wait in the hall. And I'll call you when he's changed." "Okay, Mom," Toshi said as she walked out of the room and closed the door. Sam just stood there, looking at the clothes. "Go on, honey. Get undressed." Sam looked at his mom and slowly started to unbutton his shirt. He dropped that on the floor. Next came his shoes, pants, and socks. All in a pile. He was standing there in only his undershorts and t-shirt. Finally, the t-shirt came off and was added to the pile. And he just stood there. Masumi finally said, "Go on. Take off your shorts." "Mom, I need something to put on." Masumi walked over to the bed and picked up a pair of panties and handed them to Sam. He took them, a little reluctantly, and just looked at them. They were cotton like his own underwear, but were pink, with little flowers and a narrow waistband. "Go on, honey. Put them on." He looked at her, turned his back to her, slipped off his underpants, stepped into the panties, and slowly pulled them up. Finally, when he turned back around, Masumi said to him, "Now, that wasn't so bad." "Was it?" "I guess not. But pink with little flowers. I think they're cute." "Uh-huh." "Toshi, come on back in," Masumi called through the door. Toshi opened the door, walked in, saw the pile of clothes on the floor, put her hands on her hips, and said, "Boys, they never hang up their clothes." Then looking at her brother, with a grin, she added, "My pink panties look very nice on you, little brother." He frowned at her. Masumi picked up something else from the bed and handed it to Sam, saying, "Here, honey, put this on." "What is it?" "A training bra." "A training bra? No way. Honey, you'll need it to look proper under a blouse or dress. It won't bite." He looked at it, looked at his mother, and said, "How?" She chuckled a little, and Toshi put her hand over her mouth to hide a giggle. "Here, I'll help you," Masumi said, as she helped him into the strange piece of clothing. "Okay, socks next." Toshi handed Sam a pair of ankle socks. They were white with a pink cuff, which had embroidered red hearts running all the way around the cuff and a bit of lace. He sat on her bed, just looking at them, and finally slipping them on his feet. From that point on, they tried on a number of skirt and blouse combinations and party dresses. The dress that looked the best was a very light blue dress with white trim. The skirt flared out, and it ended just above the knees. The skirt and blouse that looked the best was a white blouse with a pretty ruffles and a pleated, dark red, plaid skirt. Next were the shoes. All the dress shoes that Toshi had are the typical type that young girls wear: low heels, black patent leather with a strap. And, try as they would, none of them would fit Sam. He smiled to himself and thought, "Good. Maybe I can get out of this whole mess. I guess I can't do this." "None of Toshi's shoes fit me," Sam said. "We'll just add this to our shopping list," Masumi said. "Shopping lists?" "Sure. We're going shopping this afternoon for what you need." "Shopping? Great. That will be fun," Toshi said. "Shopping for what?" "Well, shoes for one," Masumi said. "And a wig." "A wig? That's it. I'm done. I'm not wearing a wig." "Sam, do you want to do Halloween with Paul or not? You're acting like this is some big thing. It's a costume. Something you are going to wear once. It's supposed to be a fun thing." "And you're not making it fun," Masumi said, as she turned and walked out of Toshi's room, leaving the door open. Sam just watched his mom walk out of the room. He knew she was upset with him. He sat down hard on the bed and began to cry. Toshi had also turned to look at her mother. When she turned around, she was going to yell at her brother for upsetting everything. But as she turned to face him, she saw that he was crying and couldn't bring herself to yell. She walked over to the bed, sat down next to him, and put her arm around him. He looked at her and said, "I've messed this up big time, haven't I? Mom's mad at me." "I know you are." "Yeah, I guess you did mess this up," Toshi started in. "I was going to really yell at you for being such a big baby over such a little thing. But I think that you're feeling bad enough. Mom was willing to go the whole way with you on this. But I think you blew it, and now she's done with it. I'm mad, but I'm more disappointed. You know that this is a one-time thing. It's a costume. So what if it's to look like a girl? It's only for a few hours." He looked up at his sister. The tears were just running down his cheeks. Toshi hugged him and held him for a minute. She heard him sniffling and trying to stop crying. She whispered to him, "It'll be all right. Mom will get over it. It may take a little while, but it will be fine." He sat back, looked at her, and said, "Toshi, you really are a neat sister." She smiled at him and said, "I'll leave," and you can change back into your clothes. Just leave mine on the bed. She turned to walk out of her room. And Sam said, Wait. Yeah. For what? I. Toshi stood there and looked at her brother, waiting for him to finish his sentence. I want you and Mom to help me finish. Are you sure? Yes. I have been a big baby about this. And you're right, it's only a costume, and only for a short time. Ask Mom for me, please. You need to ask her yourself. Please? Oh, all right. Stay here. Toshi turned, walked out the door, turned left, and there stood her mother with a finger to her lips. Toshi smiled when she realized that her mother had been outside the door the whole time and had heard the whole conversation. Masumi whispered, Let's wait a couple of minutes and then go back in. After a short time, Toshi and her mother walked back into Toshi's bedroom. Sam looked at them and Masumi said, I hear that there is something that you want to ask me? Yeah. I've been a baby about this whole thing. Toshi got me to see that it's only a costume and only for a short time. And I've ruined the whole thing. And I do want to do this. It will be a neat costume. Will you please help me? Only if you promise to behave yourself. No more tantrums. Understood. Yes, Mom. I promise. All right. Go into the bathroom and wash your face with cold water. Then come back and put your own clothes back on. But leave the ankle socks on. Toshi and I are going to fix a little lunch and then we're going shopping. Shoes and wig. Yes. Okay.
Please subscribe for the next part and visit my Patreon page for early access.